In a country where glaciers carve valleys deeper than skyscrapers are tall, where medieval villages cling to cliff faces as if gravity forgot to exist, and where every turn reveals a landscape so pristine it feels like nature's rough draft was never needed, Switzerland doesn't just showcase beauty, it redefines it. This is a land where engineering marvels tunnel through the Earth's spine, where emerald lakes reflect peaks that pierce the sky at 4,000 meters, and where centuries-old traditions survive in harmony with cutting-edge innovation. Here, waterfalls plunge into valleys with the force of thunder, alpine meadows bloom in symphonies of color, and every vista seems designed by an artist who refused to accept limitations. Today, we're embarking on a visual odyssey through 12 wonders that prove Switzerland isn't just a country, it's a masterpiece painted across 41,000 square kilometers of the planet's most dramatic canvas. From the liquid sapphire of impossibly blue lakes, to the raw, primal power of Europe's most spectacular waterfalls, from engineering achievements that redefined what's possible to natural formations that challenge everything you thought you knew about landscapes. This isn't a journey through postcards, this is an exploration of places where geology, human ambition, and natural artistry converge to create something that transcends ordinary beauty. Buckle in, because what you're about to witness will change how you see not just Switzerland, but what our planet is capable of creating. Number 12. Rhine Falls. Imagine standing at the edge of Europe's most powerful waterfall, where 700 cubic meters of water per second crashes over a 23-meter precipice with the roar of 10,000 thunderstorms. The Rhine Falls at Schaffhausen isn't just Switzerland's liquid crown jewel, it's a force of nature that has been reshaping the landscape for over 500,000 years. The falls stretch 150 meters wide, creating a curtain of white fury that catches sunlight and transforms it into countless rainbows dancing in the mist. But this isn't just about raw power. During peak flow in June and July, when alpine snowmelt feeds the Rhine, the volume can surge to over 1,200 cubic meters per second, enough water to fill an Olympic swimming pool every 2 seconds. What makes Rhine Falls extraordinary isn't just its scale, but its accessibility to human drama. A medieval castle, Schloss Laufen, perches dramatically on the fall's edge, its stones weathered by centuries of mist and spray. Visitors can take boats directly to the thundering base, where the water's power is so intense it creates its own weather system, constant wind, perpetual mist, and a sound that drowns out everything but nature's voice. The geological story here spans millennia. These falls were carved during the last ice age, when advancing glaciers forced the Rhine to find a new path. The river cut through layers of Jurassic limestone, creating this spectacular drop that continues to erode backwards at a rate of 1 meter every 1,000 years. Ancient rocks jut from the churning waters like sleeping giants, some accessible by boat during lower water periods. But Rhine Falls represents more than geological wonder. It's been a source of power for over 100 years. Hidden turbines harness the fall's energy, generating electricity while preserving the natural spectacle. This perfect marriage of preservation and progress epitomizes Switzerland's approach to its natural treasures. Respect the power, harness what you can responsibly, but never diminish the wonder. Standing here at sunset, when the western light turns the spray golden and the sound becomes hypnotic rather than overwhelming, you understand why this place has drawn visitors for centuries. It's not just a waterfall, it's liquid sculpture, carved by time and fed by an entire mountain range. Number 11. Bernina Express Railway. Picture a train that climbs nearly 2,000 meters through landscapes so dramatic they seem computer-generated, crossing 196 bridges and threading through 55 tunnels on a journey that UNESCO declared a World Heritage Masterpiece. The Bernina Express isn't just transportation, it's a 4-hour ride through Switzerland's most stunning geographical textbook. This engineering marvel connects the palm trees of Italy with the glaciers of the Alps, climbing from Chur at 585 meters to the Bernina Pass at 2,253 meters without using a single cogwheel or rack system. Instead, the railway achieves this impossible ascent through pure engineering brilliance, curves so precisely calculated that the train spirals through complete loops, gaining altitude while passengers watch the same landmarks from completely different angles. The panoramic windows of the Bernina Express frame landscapes that shift like scenes in an epic film. In minutes you transition from verdant valleys dotted with traditional Engadin houses to stark glacial wilderness, where the Morteratsch Glacier hangs like a frozen waterfall between towering peaks. The famous Landwasser Viaduct, a six-arch stone bridge that seems to emerge from solid rock, carries passengers 65 meters above the valley floor, a feat of engineering that required workers to blast the tunnel entrance directly from the cliff face. But the real magic happens at Alp Grum, where the train pauses at 2,091 meters altitude. Here, passengers step onto a platform suspended between heaven and earth, surrounded by peaks that scrape the sky. The Piz Palu Glacier dominates the southern horizon, its three summits crowned with snow that has never melted, while below, the Palu Lake reflects this glacial amphitheater in waters so still they mirror perfection. The technical achievement of this railway defies belief. Constructed between 1898 and 1910, workers battled avalanches, altitude and terrain that claimed lives, while they carved this route through some of Europe's most unforgiving landscape. The steepest sections climb at gradients of 70 per thousand, steep enough that passengers feel pressed into their seats as the train ascends. What transforms this from mere transportation to transcendent experience is the seamless integration with the landscape. Rather than conquering the Alps, the Bernina Express dances with them, following natural contours and embracing the terrain's challenges. Every curve reveals new perspectives on peaks that have witnessed centuries of human ambition, yet remain eternally unchanged. This isn't just a train ride, it's time travel through landscapes that showcase Switzerland's ability to achieve the impossible while respecting the environment that makes such achievement worthwhile. Number 10. Lake Geneva. Envision the largest alpine lake in Europe, a crescent-shaped mirror stretching 73 kilometers between Switzerland and France, where the water is so clear you can see 10 meters down, and so blue it seems to contain liquefied sky. Lake Geneva isn't just water, it's a liquid stage where mountains, vineyards, and Belle Epoque elegance perform a daily ballet of light and reflection. This vast body of water holds 89 billion cubic meters, enough to cover all of Switzerland in a layer 2 meters deep. But, statistics fail to capture the lake's magnetic presence. At 372 meters deep, Lake Geneva's depths plunge into darkness while its surface catches light like a jewel, creating color variations that shift from deep sapphire in the center to crystalline turquoise near the shores. The lake's northern shore unfolds like a geographical amphitheater. UNESCO World Heritage vineyards cascade down terrace slopes that have been cultivated for over 1,000 years, their stone walls catching morning sun and radiating warmth that creates perfect microclimates for wine production. These arenisation terraces, built by Cistercian monks in the 12th century, represent one of Europe's most spectacular examples of agricultural artistry carved directly into the landscape. Montreux occupies the lake's eastern curve, where the Alps plunge directly into the water, creating a microclimate so mild that palm trees flourish alongside alpine peaks. Here, the famous Jet d'eau fountain shoots 140 meters into the air, a 500-liter-per-second column of water that serves as Geneva's liquid landmark, visible from aircraft and capable of creating its own rainbow weather system. But Lake Geneva's true magic lies in its role as Switzerland's liquid highway through history. Roman galleys once navigated these waters, medieval traders transported goods along its length, and Belle Epoque steamers still cruise between ports that have witnessed centuries of commerce, culture, and conflict. The lake has inspired writers from Rousseau to Byron, who described it as a mirror of all beauty. The water itself tells a fascinating scientific story. Fed primarily by the Rhone River, Lake Geneva completely refreshes its entire volume every 11.4 years through a complex circulation system. During winter, the lake rarely freezes. The last complete freeze occurred in 1963, but thermal layers create distinct temperature zones that support diverse ecosystems from Arctic char in the depths to Mediterranean climate fish near the warmer shores. Number 9. Aletsch Glacier. Behold the largest glacier in the European Alps, a 23-kilometer river of ice that flows like frozen time through the Bernese Alps, carrying 27 billion tons of ice in a journey that began as snowflakes centuries ago. The Aletsch Glacier isn't just Switzerland's icy crown jewel, it's a moving archive of climate history, a landscape-shaping force, and a spectacle that honestly redefines what glacial beauty can achieve. From the Jungfraujoch viewing platform at 3,454 meters, the glacier unfolds like a superhighway of ice, flanked by 4,000-meter peaks that pierce the sky. The ice highway stretches from the Neuve fields, where annual snowfall compresses into glacial ice, down through the Concordia confluence, where three major ice streams merge into one colossal flow that dominates the valley floor. The visual impact is, well, overwhelming. This glacier contains enough ice to cover all of Switzerland in a layer 60 centimeters thick, yet it moves at the stately pace of 200 meters per year in its upper sections, slowing to just 20 meters annually near its terminus. The ice surface reveals the glacier's internal dynamics through a complex pattern of crevasses, some over 40 meters deep, that open and close as the glacier flows around bedrock obstacles invisible beneath the ice. What makes Aletsch extraordinary is its role as a natural laboratory. Scientists have drilled ice cores here that reveal atmospheric conditions from over 1,000 years ago, trapped in air bubbles within the ancient ice. Each layer tells a story of historical climate, volcanic eruptions, and atmospheric changes recorded with a precision that no human archive could match. The glacier's medial moraine creates a dark stripe down its center, a collection of rocks and debris that marks where tributary glaciers merged. This rocky highway atop the ice carries boulders that began their journey from peaks kilometers away, transported by ice flow in a geological conveyor belt that operates across centuries. But Aletsch also represents Switzerland's climate reality. Since 1870, this glacier has retreated over 3 kilometers and lost more than 200 meters of thickness. The current retreat rate, up to 50 meters per year, transforms the landscape in real time, revealing bedrock that hasn't seen sunlight for millennia, and creating new lakes where ice once dominated. The surrounding peaks, Jungfrau, Monch, and Eiger, form an amphitheater of rock and ice that funnels weather systems and creates the conditions necessary for glacier formation. Here, annual snowfall can exceed 10 meters, compressed by its own weight into the granular ice that feeds this frozen giant. Standing at the glacier's edge, listening to the subtle sounds of moving ice, creaks, groans, and the distant crack of crevasses opening, you witness one of Earth's most powerful landscape-shaping forces still actively at work, carving Switzerland's future geography 1 meter at a time. Number 8, Chapel Bridge, Lucerne. Imagine for a moment Europe's oldest covered wooden bridge stretching across the outlet of Lake Lucerne with 112 triangular paintings that, narrate the story of Swiss history beneath a roof that sheltered travelers for over 650 years. The Chapel Bridge isn't just Lucerne's symbol. It's a 204-meter journey through time, where medieval engineering meets artistic mastery and, honestly, one of Switzerland's most photographed landmarks. Built in 1333 as part of Lucerne's fortifications, this covered bridge served dual purposes, connecting the old town with the new while providing protected passage during attacks. The bridge's distinctive zigzag path across the Reuss River wasn't accidental. It was actually designed to force any attacking army into a vulnerable position, where defenders could target them from multiple angles while remaining protected under the wooden roof. The octagonal water tower, rising 43 meters beside the bridge, completes one of Europe's most recognizable medieval ensembles. This tower actually predates the bridge by 30 years and served as everything from a lighthouse to a treasury, from a prison to an archive. Its stone walls, over 2 meters thick at the base, have witnessed the rise and fall of empires while, remaining steadfastly Swiss. But the bridge's true treasure lies overhead. The triangular gables contain 112 painted panels. Originally there were 158 before a devastating fire in 1993, that chronicle Swiss history from legendary times through the 17th century. These paintings, created by local Catholic painter Hans Heinrich Wagmann in the 1600s, transform a simple crossing into Switzerland's longest art gallery. Each panel tells part of the Swiss story, the legendary William Tell, the founding of the Swiss Confederation, battles against foreign invaders, and the lives of Lucerne's patron saints. The 1993 fire that destroyed much of the bridge's center section also revealed the craftsmanship hidden within its construction. Rebuilding efforts uncovered medieval joinery techniques that used no nails, only precisely cut wooden joints that have flexed with temperature changes for centuries. The replacement timber came from the same forests that supplied the original builders, maintaining continuity across nearly 7 centuries. Walking across Chapel Bridge today means stepping on footboards worn smooth by millions of travelers beneath restored paintings that glow in filtered light from windows designed to illuminate the artwork while protecting it from direct sunlight. The bridge's slight upward arch creates perfect sightlines both up and down the Reuss River, framing views of Lucerne's medieval architecture against the backdrop of the Swiss Alps. Water flows beneath the bridge at a rate that varies dramatically with alpine snowmelt, creating a soundtrack that changes with the seasons, from gentle murmurs during winter to the rushing sounds of spring floods. This acoustic element transforms the crossing into a sensory experience where footsteps on ancient wood blend with flowing water and the distant sounds of the city. Chapel Bridge represents Switzerland's genius for preservation, maintaining historical authenticity while adapting to contemporary needs, creating beauty that serves practical purposes, and honoring the past while embracing the future. Number 7. The Matterhorn. So just picture the most photographed mountain on Earth, a 4,478-meter pyramid of rock and ice, so perfectly shaped it seems sculpted rather than carved by geological forces, rising in solitary magnificence above the village of Zermatt, like nature's ultimate architectural achievement. The Matterhorn isn't just Switzerland's most iconic peak, it's the mountain that really defined what alpine beauty could be. This geographical masterpiece owes its distinctive shape to millions of years of erosion that carved away everything unnecessary, leaving only the essential pyramid. Four faces rise at nearly identical angles, creating symmetry so perfect that, honestly, early explorers doubted it was natural. The mountain's isolation, no other major peaks crowd its base, allows the Matterhorn to dominate the skyline with theatrical drama that changes throughout the day. At sunrise, the peak catches the first light in a phenomenon locals call alpenglow. The mountain glows pink and gold against a deep blue sky, creating one of nature's most spectacular daily performances. This light show happens because the Matterhorn's height allows it to catch and reflect sunlight long before and after it illuminates the valleys below, making the mountain appear to generate its own luminescence. The geological story behind this perfect pyramid spans 100 million years. The Matterhorn represents a collision between African and European continental plates that thrust ancient ocean floor to altitudes where only the hardest rock could survive. The mountain's dark band, visible as a horizontal stripe across its face, marks the boundary between European basement rock below and African oceanic material above, a geological suture that tells the story of continental drift made visible. But the Matterhorn's fame extends beyond geology into the realm of human ambition. The first successful ascent in 1865 ended in tragedy when 4 of the 7 climbers fell to their deaths during the descent, transforming triumph into disaster and creating a legend that elevated this peak above all others. Today, over 3,000 climbers attempt the summit annually, though the mountain claims several lives each year from those who underestimate its technical challenges. The mountain's influence on Zermatt created one of the world's first mountain resort destinations. This car-free village, accessible only by cog railway, exists entirely in the Matterhorn's shadow and embrace. Hotels position their windows to frame the peak, restaurants orient their terraces toward the mountain, and the village's entire economy revolves around providing access to this singular geological wonder. Weather patterns around the Matterhorn create their own microclimate. The peak generates its own clouds through orographic lifting. Air masses forced upward by the mountain's bulk create distinctive lenticular cloud formations that often cap the summit like a celestial crown. These clouds can form and dissipate within minutes, constantly changing the mountain's appearance and creating endless photographic possibilities. Standing in Zermatt at dawn, watching the Matterhorn emerge from darkness as the first light reveals its perfect pyramid shape, you witness one of Earth's most sublime moments, when geology, light, and human perception converge to create beauty that honestly transcends the merely visual and becomes genuinely transformative. Number 6. Harderkulm, Interlaken. Ascend to 1,322 meters above sea level and discover Switzerland's most spectacular natural balcony, a viewing platform where the entire Bernese Oberland unfolds in a 180-degree panorama that encompasses glacial peaks, emerald lakes, and valleys carved by millennia of ice and water. Harderkulm isn't just Interlaken's local mountain, it's the geographical key that unlocks the visual secrets of Switzerland's most dramatic alpine region. The funicular journey to reach this summit tells its own story of Swiss engineering precision. Built in 1908, the railway climbs 755 meters in just 10 minutes through a landscape that transitions from valley meadows to alpine forest, revealing layers of geology and vegetation that document the region's natural history. The vintage cars, modernized but maintaining their historical character, provide windows into the ascent that transforms passengers from valley dwellers to mountain observers. But the real revelation awaits at the summit platform. Here, The geography of central Switzerland spreads before you like a three-dimensional map drawn by glacial forces. Lake Thun stretches westward, its deep blue waters reflecting the afternoon sky, while Lake Brienz extends eastward, its distinctive turquoise coloration caused by glacial flour, microscopic rock particles ground by glaciers and suspended in the water. Between these lakes Interlaken occupies the narrow valley floor, its name literally meaning between the lakes. The northern horizon reveals the Jura Mountains' gentle profiles, while southward, the view is dominated by the triumvirate of the Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau, three peaks that represent some of the most dramatic alpine architecture visible from any single vantage point. The Eiger's notorious north face, an 1,800-meter wall of limestone and ice, dominates the eastern view, while the Jungfrau's glaciated summit catches light at 4,158 meters elevation. What makes Harter Kulm extraordinary is its role as a natural observatory for understanding Swiss geography. From this elevation you can trace the path of ancient glaciers that carved these valleys, observe how modern settlements follow the patterns established by Ice Age geography, and witness the relationship between elevation, climate, and vegetation that defines alpine ecosystems. The platform itself extends dramatically over the cliff face, creating the sensation of floating above the valley floor 800 meters below. This architectural audacity, a steel and glass structure anchored to solid rock, allows visitors to experience the vertical drama of Swiss topography without the technical challenges of mountaineering. Sunset from Harter Kulm transforms the experience from geographical education to pure visual poetry, as the western light illuminates the glacial peaks and reflects off both lakes simultaneously. The entire landscape becomes a study in light, shadow, and reflection that changes by the minute. The evening alpenglow on the Bernese peaks creates a natural amphitheater of light that demonstrates why this region has attracted travelers for over 2 centuries. And just when you think it can't get better, wait until you see number 1. Number 5, Lauterbrunnen Valley. Descend into a geological cathedral where 72 waterfalls cascade from cliff walls, rising 1,000 meters straight up from the valley floor, creating what inspired J.R.R. Tolkien's vision of Rivendell, and what geologists call one of Europe's most spectacular examples of glacial erosion. Lauterbrunnen Valley isn't just a place. It's a 25-kilometer journey through landscapes so dramatic they challenge everything you thought you knew about what valleys could look like. The name Lauterbrunnen translates to loud fountains, and within moments of entering this valley, you understand why. Staubach Falls plunges 297 meters in a single drop so vertical that wind often transforms the water into mist before it reaches the ground. This ethereal waterfall becomes liquid sculpture, especially during sunrise when backlight transforms the falling water into sheets of gold and silver that seem to pour from the sky itself. But Staubach is merely the overture. The valley contains 72 named waterfalls, each carved by millennia of snowmelt and rainfall channeled through the fractured limestone cliffs. Trummelbach Falls, hidden inside the mountain itself, carries the runoff from 3 major glaciers, Eiger, Monk, and Jungfrau, through a series of underground chambers where 20,000 liters per second carve spiral galleries in solid rock. The sound inside these chambers is deafening, a liquid thunder that demonstrates water's power to sculpt stone. The valley's U-shaped profile reveals its glacial origins. During the last ice age, a glacier over 1,000 meters thick filled this valley, grinding away softer rock and creating the distinctive flat floor flanked by vertical walls. When the ice retreated, it left hanging valleys where tributary glaciers once joined the main ice flow. Today, these hanging valleys create the perfect launching points for the valley's spectacular waterfall display. Walking the valley floor means traveling through one of Switzerland's most productive agricultural regions, where meadows produce hay so rich it feeds cattle that produce milk for some of the world's finest cheeses. The valley's microclimate, protected by towering walls and warmed by reflected sunlight, creates growing conditions that support both alpine and valley floor vegetation within meters of each other. The villages scattered along the valley floor, Lauterbrunnen, Wengen, Murren, seem impossibly small beneath the geological grandeur surrounding them. Yet these settlements represent centuries of human adaptation to extreme geography, with buildings positioned to avoid avalanche paths and take advantage of sunlight patterns that change dramatically with the seasons. Cable cars and funiculars connect the valley floor to villages perched on ledges carved into the cliff faces, creating vertical transportation networks that treat the valley walls as accessible terrain rather than barriers. The The journey from Lauterbrunnen to Mürren, suspended 800 meters above the valley floor, provides constantly changing perspectives on waterfalls, peaks, and the intricate relationship between human settlement and geological drama. If this journey has already left you breathless, hit that subscribe button, we're only halfway through. Enter a world where reality defies physics. A mountain lake so impossibly blue it seems to contain liquid sapphire, where the water is so clear you can count fish swimming 10 meters below the surface, and where the lake's cobalt intensity changes throughout the day as if lit from within. Glaciers, hidden in the Bernese Oberland at 887 meters elevation, isn't just beautiful. It's a natural phenomenon that challenges everything you thought you knew about water's visual possibilities. This small lake, only 300 meters long and 150 meters wide, owes its extraordinary color to a perfect storm of natural conditions. The water's supernatural blue results from selective light absorption. The lake's depth and mineral content absorb red wavelengths while reflecting blue with intensity that can appear electric. But this isn't just any blue, it's a shade so pure and saturated that photographs often look artificially enhanced, though no camera can truly capture the visual impact of standing beside this liquid gem. The lake's clarity approaches distilled water standards, with visibility extending down 20 meters on calm days. This transparency results from the lake's unique formation and water source. Fed by underground springs that filter through limestone bedrock, the water arrives pre-filtered by geological processes that remove sediments and organic matter. The result is water so pure that the lake's trout population, visible from the surface in startling detail, thrives in conditions that approach laboratory standards. Geological legend and scientific reality intertwine at Glaciers. Local folklore claims the lake formed when a heartbroken maiden's tears created this blue jewel, but the scientific story is equally compelling. The lake occupies a natural depression created by a rock slide that dammed a valley stream approximately 15,000 years ago. The limestone bedrock beneath acts as a natural filtration system, while the lake's depth, reaching 10 meters, provides the volume necessary for the spectacular optical effects. The surrounding landscape amplifies the lake's visual drama. Dense coniferous forest creates a natural amphitheater that shelters the water from wind, maintaining the mirror-like surface that doubles the lake's visual impact through perfect reflections. Ancient spruce and fir trees, some over 400 years old, frame the lake with vertical lines that emphasize the water's horizontal tranquility. But Glaciers' true magic emerges in changing light conditions. Morning mist rising from the warm water creates ethereal effects as vapor interacts with cold air, temporarily obscuring then revealing the lake like nature's own theatrical staging. Afternoon sunlight, filtered through the forest canopy, creates dappled patterns on the water surface that interact with the lake's internal luminosity. At sunset, when western light penetrates the forest, the blue intensifies to almost supernatural levels. The lake maintains a constant temperature of 9 to 10 degrees Celsius year-round, fed by springs that originate deep enough to avoid seasonal temperature variations. This thermal stability creates its own microclimate that supports vegetation typically found at different elevations, making the lake's surroundings a compressed ecosystem where alpine and valley floor species coexist. Standing beside Glaciers on a still morning, watching trout cruise through water so clear they appear to fly through liquid air, you witness one of Switzerland's most perfect examples of natural artistry, a place where geology, optics, and ecology converge to create beauty that seems too perfect to exist in the natural world. Ascend to 3,089 meters above sea level via Europe's highest open-air cog railway, and discover Switzerland's ultimate mountain observatory, a summit platform where 29 peaks over 4,000 meters create a 360-degree amphitheater of alpine grandeur that redefines what mountain landscapes can achieve. Gurnergrat isn't just a viewpoint, it's a natural cathedral where geology, glaciology, and human engineering converge to create one of Earth's most spectacular elevated experiences. The journey begins in Zermatt with the Gurnergrat Railway, a marvel of mountain engineering that has been carrying passengers to these heights since 1898. The cogwheel train climbs 1,469 meters in 33 minutes, transitioning through 5 distinct vegetation zones that document Switzerland's vertical ecosystems. From valley forests through alpine meadows to the stark, beautiful world above the tree line, Each meter of elevation gained reveals new perspectives on the relationship between altitude and environment. But nothing prepares you for the summit revelation. The Matterhorn dominates the southern horizon from this angle, revealing its north face and profile, a perspective that showcases the mountain's perfect pyramid from its most photogenic angle. This view inspired the design of countless alpine logos and established the visual vocabulary of mountain beauty that defines Switzerland's image worldwide. Yet the Matterhorn is merely one performer in this geological orchestra. The Monte Rosa Massif, crowned by the Dufourspitze at 4,634 meters, Switzerland's highest peak, spreads across the southern horizon like a frozen tsunami of rock and ice. 15 peaks over 4,000 meters crowd this single massif, creating a wall of summits that catches morning light and holds it throughout the day, generating weather patterns visible from the Gornergrat platform. The Gorner Glacier flows beneath the viewing platform like a highway of ice, its surface marked by the complex patterns of crevasses and medial moraines that document centuries of glacial flow. This glacier, Switzerland's second largest, demonstrates ice dynamics on a massive scale. The upper ice flows at speeds up to 50 meters per year, while the terminus moves much slower, creating the compression zones visible as crevasse fields from the Gornergrat vantage point. The platform itself represents Swiss engineering at its most audacious. Built into the mountain's summit, the observatory withstands winds exceeding 200 kilometers per hour, and temperatures that can drop to -30 degrees Celsius. Yet the structure provides comfortable viewing conditions year-round, with heated interior spaces and protected outdoor terraces that allow visitors to experience the full sensory impact of high-altitude alpine environments. Weather patterns observed from Gornergrat reveal the atmosphere's interaction with extreme topography. Cloud formations develop and dissipate within minutes as air masses encounter the complex terrain below. Lenticular clouds form above peaks, creating natural barometers that experienced mountaineers read like weather instruments. The platform offers real-time observation of meteorological phenomena that demonstrate how mountains create their own climate systems. Sunrise from Gornergrat ranks among Earth's most spectacular natural performances. As the first light strikes the highest peaks, each summit catches fire in sequence. Dufourspitze first, then the Matterhorn, followed by dozens of lesser peaks in a choreographed display of alpenglow that can last for 20 minutes. The intensity of light on snow-covered rock creates color saturation that seems impossible until witnessed firsthand. The observatory's scientific instruments add another dimension to the experience. Weather monitoring equipment, astronomical telescopes, and glaciological research stations demonstrate how this location serves as a natural laboratory for studying high-altitude phenomena. Visitors can observe real-time data collection that contributes to global understanding of climate change, atmospheric science, and glacial dynamics. Standing on Gornergrat at sunset, surrounded by peaks that have shaped the imagination of mountaineers and artists for centuries, you occupy one of the planet's most privileged observation points, a place where human engineering provides access to natural grandeur that transcends ordinary beauty and approaches the sublime. Number 2, Jungfraujoch, top of Europe. So, imagine this, a journey to 3,454 meters above sea level via the world's highest railway station. It's like entering a realm where permanent ice meets the eternal sky. Here, the temperatures average around -7 degrees Celsius year-round. And stepping outside, well, it means breathing air so thin and pure, it feels like you're inhaling starlight. Jungfraujoch, marketed as the top of Europe, isn't just Switzerland's highest accessible point. It's, a gateway to understanding what our planet looks like from the edge of space. The approach alone defies belief. The Jungfrau Railway, completed in 1912 after 16 years of construction that claimed 30 lives, tunnels directly through the Eiger and Monch Mountains for 7 kilometers, the longest tunnel section of any mountain railway in the world. 2 stops inside the Eiger's north face provide windows blasted through the mountain wall, offering surreal glimpses of the outside world from within solid rock. These windows frame views of the Bernese lowlands 3,000 meters below, creating the sensation of looking out from an aircraft at cruising altitude. Emerging at Jungfraujoch station feels like arriving on another planet. The air contains 30% less oxygen than at sea level, making every breath noticeable and lending a crystalline clarity to thoughts and perceptions. The sun's intensity at this altitude can burn exposed skin within minutes, while the reflected glare from surrounding snow and ice creates a luminosity that requires protective eyewear to safely experience. The Great Aletsch Glacier spreads below the station like a frozen highway extending to the horizon, its surface marked by crevasses that reveal ice depths of over 900 meters. This perspective allows visitors to comprehend glacial scale impossible to grasp from valley floors. The glacier flows like slow-motion liquid, carrying rocks and debris in patterns that document centuries of movement across the landscape. But Jungfraujoch's true revelation is its role as a high-altitude research station. The Sphinx Observatory, perched at 3,571 meters on a rocky outcrop above the station, conducts atmospheric research that contributes to global climate science. The facility's instruments measure cosmic radiation, atmospheric composition, and climate data that can only be collected at these extreme elevations. Visitors can observe real-time scientific work that advances human understanding of Earth's atmosphere and climate systems. The Ice Palace, carved directly into the Aletsch Glacier, provides the surreal experience of walking inside ice that formed from snowfall centuries ago. These tunnels and chambers, maintained at constant sub-zero temperatures, showcase ice formations that reveal the glacier's internal structure. The walls display layers of compressed snow that document individual winters stretching back generations, creating a physical archive of regional climate history. Weather conditions at Jungfraujoch demonstrate atmospheric extremes. Temperatures can vary 40 degrees between sunshine and shadow, while wind speeds can exceed 150 kilometers per hour during alpine storms. Yet the station operates year-round, providing heated facilities that allow visitors to experience these extreme conditions safely, while observing their dramatic effects on the surrounding landscape. The viewing platforms reveal Switzerland's vertical geography in its full context. From this elevation, the country's major valleys appear as green ribbons threading between mountain ranges, while lakes reflect light like scattered mirrors across the landscape below. The curvature of the Earth becomes apparent on clear days, with horizons that extend beyond Switzerland's borders into France, Italy, and Austria. Standing outside at Jungfraujoch, feeling the thin air and intense sunlight while surrounded by peaks that define the European alpine skyline, you occupy one of the continent's most extreme accessible environments, a place where the everyday world disappears below cloud level, and you exist temporarily in the realm where Earth meets sky. Number 1. Lake Oeschinen. Hidden at 1,578 meters in a cirque carved by glacial forces, accessible only by cable car and mountain trail, lies a lake so perfect it seems designed by an artist who, well, refused to accept the limitations of reality. Lake Oeschinen reveals water so blue it appears to glow from within, surrounded by vertical walls rising 1,000 meters straight up, where waterfalls cascade from glaciers suspended between 3,000-meter peaks that form one of the most spectacular natural amphitheaters in the European Alps. This is the lake that UNESCO declared a World Heritage masterpiece, not just for its beauty, but for representing the perfect example of glacial lake formation in pristine alpine environment. Lake Oeschinen exists in a state of natural perfection that seems almost impossible. Water so transparent you can observe trout swimming at 15-meter depths, surrounded by geological drama that, honestly, takes your breath away before the altitude even has a chance to. The lake's extraordinary blue color results from glacial flour, microscopic rock particles ground by the Swiss Alps glacier and suspended in the water. But unlike other glacial lakes with milky turquoise hues, Oeschinen achieves a deep sapphire blue that really intensifies with depth and changes throughout the day as light conditions shift. The water temperature remains between 18 and 20 degrees Celsius during summer, making it one of the warmest high-altitude alpine lakes suitable for swimming, though the shock of diving into water this pure and cold creates an almost spiritual experience. The cirque walls surrounding the lake tell a geological story spanning millions of years. These cliffs, composed primarily of limestone from ancient Tethys sea deposits, rise in nearly vertical faces that create perfect acoustics. Voices and sounds echo across the water with crystalline clarity. The Swiss Alps massif dominates the southern wall, its glaciers hanging like frozen waterfalls between peaks that exceed 3,600 meters elevation. Waterfalls punctuate the cliff faces at regular intervals, each fed by permanent snowfields and glaciers that ensure year-round flow. The largest cascade plunges over 400 meters in multiple tiers, creating a symphony of water sounds that provides the lake's soundtrack. During spring snowmelt, these waterfalls increase dramatically in volume, temporarily transforming the lake's color as increased sediment inflow creates subtle changes in the water's optical properties. The approach to Lake Oeschinen becomes part of its magic. The cable car from Kandersteg climbs through forest that transitions from valley-floor deciduous trees to high-altitude conifers, while the final 30-minute hike follows an alpine path that reveals the lake gradually, first glimpses through trees, then partial views that hint at the grandeur ahead, until the final turn reveals the complete panorama in a moment that, honestly, stops visitors in their tracks. But what elevates Lake Oeschinen from merely spectacular to transcendent is its role as a living ecosystem at altitude. The lake supports populations of Arctic char and brown trout that have adapted to high-altitude conditions, while the surrounding meadows bloom with over 600 species of alpine plants, including rare orchids and gentians that exist nowhere else in Switzerland. This biodiversity thrives in the protected environment created by the Cirque's unique microclimate. The lake's seasonal transformations reveal nature's artistic range. Winter brings complete ice coverage that can reach 1 meter thick, creating a natural ice rink surrounded by peaks draped in snow. Spring icebreak typically occurs in May, often with dramatic cracking sounds that echo off the surrounding walls. Summer reveals the lake at its most accessible in blue, while autumn brings mirror-calm conditions that create perfect reflections of the surrounding peaks. Standing at the lake's edge on a windless morning, watching the first sunlight illuminate the blue Swiss Alps glacier while the water reflects this alpine theater in perfect detail, you witness Switzerland at its most sublime, a place where every element of landscape, light and water achieves a harmony so perfect it transforms observation into reverence. Switzerland doesn't just contain beautiful places, it redefines what beauty itself can mean. From the liquid thunder of Rhine Falls to the crystalline perfection of Lake Oeschinen, from engineering marvels that thread through impossible terrain to natural formations that challenge the boundaries of the possible, this country exists as proof that our planet still holds secrets capable of stopping us in our tracks. Here, in this compact nation smaller than many individual states, geography performs miracles on a daily basis. Glaciers carve valleys deeper than skyscrapers are tall, while lakes reflect light with intensity that seems generated from within their depths. Medieval bridges shelter travelers while futuristic railways carry passengers through mountain hearts to elevations where breathing becomes conscious, and every vista expands the definition of spectacular. But perhaps Switzerland's greatest achievement isn't any single wonder, but the seamless integration of human ambition with natural grandeur. Here, preservation doesn't mean isolation, it means creating access to beauty while protecting what makes that beauty possible. It means engineering that enhances rather than diminishes the landscape, traditions that honor rather than exploit natural resources, and a national identity built around the responsibility of stewarding some of Earth's most extraordinary places. These 12 wonders represent more than geographical accidents or tourist destinations. They embody a relationship between humans and landscape that proves coexistence not only possible but essential. In Switzerland, beauty isn't just observed. It's protected, accessed responsibly, and shared with a world that desperately needs reminding of what our planet can achieve when given the chance to reveal its full potential. If this journey amazed you, subscribe and share it with someone who loves discovery. Some places you visit, others stay with you forever. Until the next destination, stay curious.